So I ruptured my Achilles tendon carrying a car, and now I can't walk at all. What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Kind of a video I really didn't want to have to be making, but unfortunately this is the sport, you know. Unfortunately I've picked up an injury out at World's Strongest Man. Things were going well, but I thought I'd better jump on here and give you a little insight of, you know, what's happened, how it happened, and what my plan is moving forward. So obviously out at World's Strongest Man, as most of you kind of followed along, I won't reveal too many results for those who like to keep their head in the sand until Christmas time, but the comp's going really well for me. You know, a couple of events wins on day one and a second place. I was in a really good position in my group. You know, the stone walk went fantastic, you know, like it has been in training. You know, getting those stones made a massive difference on the stone walk, and doing it my way as well, rather than a way that most people have traditionally done it. Really paid off for me. And you know, winning your first event at Worlds is key. You know, you want to make sure you kind of get off to a good start. You're not having to chase everything, especially in such a competitive era of strongman as we've got now. But you know, that put me in good stead. And then I knew that I had as close to a banker event as you can get in the deadlift ladder. It's something that, you know, I've done really well on in the past. Won it at Brits, and then came in and smashed it again. And you know, you might have seen some of the clips on my Instagram of obviously that event and how easy those pulls were. So I know that my strength was in a good spot. And then, you know, moving into the final event of day one, the loading race, which was super tough. We had 3 bags and a steeplechase, 3 awkward bags, and I kind of just did enough to get that second place in the group. So ending day one only dropping 1 point is pretty awesome. You know, I was really super happy. And you know, going into day 2 I felt great. I knew the Viking press was going to be a weaker event for me, with the fact that obviously my tricep is still recovering, it's in the slow process of recovering, and the fact that the Viking press we use at Worlds is quite live. It moves about quite a bit, which is literally the worst thing for my tricep. Obviously having the weight skip over one side, sometimes go onto the other arm, is not good. You can't spread the weight out evenly. So, you know, managed to pick up an extra half point on there and tie for 5th place. But I was still in a great spot. You know, I was half a point behind going into the car walk. I knew that I just had to beat Matt Ragg in the car walk, and you know, car walk's a great event for me. It's an event I've won before at Worlds, Yokes, and obviously Britain's Strongest Man and Giants Lives. So super confident. And you know, as I warmed up, there was no warning signs. I warmed up really well. Probably 2 weeks prior, I had some kind of tendonitis kind of symptoms in that Achilles, in my left Achilles. But I managed to settle them down the way I usually do, just with some physical therapy, some shockwave, and some isometrics as part of my warm-up. And yeah, backstage, worked up to 420 yoke for a couple of meters, felt great, no warning signs at all. And when we got out there, I just knew I had to have a smooth run, and that would have been it, you know, straight through to my 4th World's Strongest Man final. Picked up the car, felt great. 4 meters I blasted, and then I just felt it tear. I felt my left Achilles tear. Dropped the car walk down, had a bit of a panic, picked the car up again and kind of stumbled on. And when you get to see the video, you'll see how much the car's moving on me as I'm just dragging my left leg along. And then dropped it again after another 10 meters, and I was done. Couldn't pick up again. The medical team and the referees kind of dragging me out of the car, as I had nothing left in that Achilles. It had gone. So you know, the medical staff kind of assessed and thought there was a significant hole in that Achilles. And you know, for me the comp was over. You know, when it was looking so promising, you know, I was looking forward to getting to a final, and you know, the events in the final were great for me, and I felt in great shape. I felt like I'd got everything right in my prep, you know, building up into that moment, from my training, from, you know, getting my rest in, taking a little bit of a longer taper into the comp. You know, I'm a bit older now, so I need a lot more rest before I compete. You know, getting out to the States early, so I didn't really have any issues with jet lag, which made a huge difference, something I'll be doing again. But unfortunately it didn't pay off, and that's the strongman. You always, you know, injuries can happen, and unfortunately it happened for me this time on an event that I've never had issues with in the past. So you know, I was gutted. Obviously, watched a great final. You know, it's awesome to see the guys compete and, you know, see the winners, and the podium were well deserved. And obviously, seeing all the guys compete really well, and, you know, everything from the rookies coming through to doing super good to the more established guys going out there and doing the business. So yeah, it was good to watch. Unfortunately, I was from a wheelchair, and I was watching, which is obviously gutting for me. But I got back to the UK. I'd booked in to see the best Achilles surgeon in the country, someone we've used with rugby players in the past when I was in my other life working at the rugby club. He saw me on the Wednesday after I got back on the Tuesday, confirmed that yeah, it's a significant tear, kind of the tendon was hanging on by a little bit, so it is a surgical intervention that we need. And then the next day I was booked in for surgery, had it operated on, and yeah, it was an interesting one. Like, I kind of went in for surgery, and usually you go in for surgery if you haven't had operations, you get put into a recovery room where they put the anaesthetic in and then wheel you in, get you on the table, operate. But strongman problems, I was a little bit too heavy for them to move me about, so they wheeled me in the wheelchair. I got on the table and I had to move myself into position before they could knock me out. The next problem came when they tried to put the tourniquet on for my leg, and they couldn't get it obviously tight enough to get through the muscle in my leg to be able to hit that artery and reduce the blood flow. So the surgeon had to do it without that. But he was happy, you know. I woke up, surgeon came and saw me, he was happy. He attempted to do it keyhole first, and put the sutures in the way they would for anyone else, and when they went to test, those sutures just ripped out. So he had to go and open me up a little bit more with a bigger scar, and put some thicker sutures in, some kind of double strength ones if you like. And they held on the second test, and I woke up with my leg in a cast, in bed, told I'm going to keep my leg elevated. So it wasn't like an overnight stay. I went in for surgery in the morning, came out in the afternoon, I was home. But the first 2 weeks I'm in a plaster cast. I've got to have my foot up for 15 minutes of every hour of a day, just try and reduce the risk of swelling. Obviously with surgery there's risk of infection, which we're very mindful about, so I haven't trained. I want to limit the amount I'm sweating so that I don't have any risk of infection in that wound, something I had before in my tricep. But hopefully now I can, we're coming up to a week post-surgery, I'll be able to get in the gym and do some upper body work. But the process for an Achilles tendon, for those who don't know, it's very slow. Return to full sport, you're talking 6 to 9 months. So obviously that's the end of the season for me. No deadlift champs again, especially when my deadlift was looking so promising. I had a fantastic plan in place. But obviously the focus is making sure I get the Achilles right, and I'm in no rush. I haven't even selected a competition I've got lined up. I'm just going to go from a rehab, as I would, and not rush things. So the first obviously couple of weeks, I said, is limiting the amount of swelling and inflammation. Then I'll get put in a boot where I'll be able to partially weight bear in the boot, and I can obviously, once that happens, I can start doing some leg extensions, leg curls, that open chain leg work to try and maintain some muscles in my quads and hamstrings. I can train my right side absolutely fine, so I will be doing that to keep the muscle in that leg. I'll be able to train my upper body pretty much as normal. It will all be obviously seated work, and the plan is to just drop some weight now. From obviously a health perspective, drop some weight makes it easier to move around, drop some body fat, so then when I kind of like push back on and look to put some muscle on, everything works a little bit better, and I'll be able to put some quality tissue back on, much like a bodybuilder would kind of cut and then bulk, and you get to that kind of like comp rebound, post-comp rebound. That's what I'll be looking to do. And another benefit of obviously cutting the weight is, by the time I get to actually loading that tendon through bodyweight exercises, get to running, moving events, jumping, obviously I'll be a lighter body weight. The last thing you want to be doing is trying to jump single leg with a repaired tendon and you're still 150 kilos plus. So take my time with it. I know there's been guys who've got back super quick, and that's fair by them, but I want to just make sure that when I'm back competing, I'm at my very best. I'm not kind of just getting back to a show to get through the show. I want to make sure that when I'm back for a show, I'm looking to be competitive again, not just be there to make up the numbers. So I don't have a date when I'm going to be competing for you guys. It definitely won't be in the end of this year. It'll probably be in 2025. But yeah, that's the plan, you know. Moving forward, obviously I do everything I can to get back nice and swiftly, and the plan is to document everything for you guys, just so people who, you know, aren't as fortunate as I am and have access to fantastic surgeons and physiotherapists can see the process and maybe use it as a blueprint for their rehab, because strangely it's actually a relatively common injury, and sometimes we just don't know why it happens. It happens in general population, happens in strongman, sprinters, anyone, and sometimes it goes without warning. So if I can help someone along the way just by documenting stuff either on here or on Instagram of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, then I will. And I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who kind of reached out over Instagram and Facebook, you know, with best wishes for me, you know, both before and after the surgery. I really appreciate you guys, and now for me it's time just to crack on with rehab and get back to doing what I love, which is lifting super heavy things. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this little insight of what I've been doing. If you've got any questions, please whack them in the comments below. I'll hopefully get around to them, whether it's about rehab or whatever. But yeah, hopefully I'll see you in another video and we'll be kind of documenting this recovery process.